Picture this, a courtroom in total silence, every seat filled, cameras rolling, and the nation holding its breath. Suddenly, a witness steps forward and drops a revelation so explosive that even the judges appear shaken. For months, the Madlanga Commission has been digging into corruption in the justice system, but what was revealed on day 6 has completely turned the inquiry upside down. We're talking about secret power deals hidden in plain sight, shocking testimonies linking politicians to corruption, and whispers of cover-ups that could stretch far beyond the courtroom. Some say this witness has just exposed the real machinery of power, where money and politics collide to control justice itself. But here's the question nobody dares to ask aloud: who stands to lose everything if these secrets come out? And could these revelations spark not just a scandal, but a political earthquake across Zambia and South Africa? Stay right here, because what you're about to hear is not just a courtroom drama, it's the untold story that could change justice forever. Welcome to InspirAfrica Official, your trusted source for powerful stories, political secrets, and the hidden truths shaping Africa's future. If you're new here, this is where we cut through the noise and bring you the real story behind the headlines, from Edgar Lungu's scandals and Esther Lungu's shocking revelations, to Hakainde Hichilema's political battles and the international courtroom dramas shaking Southern Africa. Today, we turn our focus to the Madlanga Commission, and believe me, this is not just another inquiry. On day 6, fresh witness testimony has ignited shockwaves, exposing corruption, hidden networks, and power deals that many thought would never see the light of day. This isn't only about the justice system, it's about who really controls it and how far the rot may have spread. So if you've been following the body mystery of Edgar Lungu, the secret burial debates, and the courtroom wars tied to Zambia and South Africa, then you'll know why this story matters. Because in the end, this isn't just about one witness. It's about whether justice in Africa can ever truly be free from corruption. Let's dive in. The justice system is under fire as the Madlanga Commission enters day 6 with explosive new testimony. A witness has revealed shocking secrets about corruption, hidden deals, and power struggles at the heart of Africa's courts. What does this mean for leaders like Hakainde Hichilema, the Lungu family, and the future of justice in Zambia and South Africa? In this expose, InspirAfrica Official breaks down every detail, from courtroom drama to political fallout. Don't miss this deep dive into one of the most controversial inquiries of our time. The commission uncovered the Madlanga Commission was never supposed to be ordinary. From the moment it was announced, whispers filled Zambia's political and legal circles. Why this inquiry and why now? Some called it a bold step toward reform. Others believed it was a dangerous weapon, designed to expose enemies and protect allies. But the truth turned out to be far more explosive. Behind the polished speeches and official documents, the Commission's mission was clear: uncover corruption and abuse within the justice system. Yet, even before the first witness spoke, doubts grew. Could a system accused of manipulation really investigate itself? And what would happen if someone dared to reveal the secrets buried deep inside the courts? As hearings opened, tension was visible. Lawyers shuffled nervously, judges kept their eyes low, and politicians, they watched from the sidelines, waiting to see if their names would be dragged into the fire. It wasn't just an inquiry anymore. It was a battlefield where every word carried risk. What no one expected was that a single witness would shake the commission to its core. Their testimony would change everything. But who was this person, and why did they finally decide to speak out? That moment, when silence broke, became the turning point. And in episode 2, a witness breaks the silence. We reveal how one voice shattered years of secrecy and forced Zambia to confront uncomfortable truths. A witness breaks the silence. It began like any other day inside the Madlanga Commission. Lawyers shuffled papers, commissioners adjusted their seats, and the public gallery sat in uneasy silence. No one expected what would come next. Then a witness walked in, calm, steady, but carrying a storm. For weeks, rumors had swirled about hidden testimonies. But this voice was different. With measured words, the witness began to describe how cases were twisted, how verdicts were shaped, and how justice itself had been sold behind closed doors. At first, the room leaned forward. By the time the testimony ended, jaws had dropped. Why had this person stayed silent for so long? Some say fear. Others whisper they were once part of the very system they now exposed. But something or someone pushed them to speak at last. Their revelations pierced the polished surface of the judiciary and showed the cracks beneath. Phones buzzed outside the chamber. News alerts flashed across Zambia. Social media lit up with outrage, memes, and disbelief. For many citizens, this was proof of what they had long suspected. The justice system was not blind, it was bought. But here lies the real question. Would this witness be celebrated as a hero or crushed as a traitor? In Episode 3, The Hidden Networks, we trace the lines of power, the secret links between judges, politicians, and wealthy elites that could explain why justice in Zambia feels rigged from the very top. The hidden networks, when the witness spoke, it wasn't just about cases. It was about connections, about names whispered in court hallways, about decisions that seemed less like judgments and more like favors. And that opened the door to one of the Commission's most disturbing discoveries, the hidden networks. For years, ordinary Zambians had asked the same question: why do the powerful always seem to win in court? The answer, according to testimony and leaked files, was chilling. Judges were not always independent. Some were tied to politicians, others to business tycoons. Phone calls, envelopes, and backroom dinners quietly decided outcomes long before a gavel struck. One striking example came from a case where a ruling appeared airtight until a sudden technicality flipped the verdict. Later, whispers suggested that money and influence had traveled through a network so discreet most of the public never even knew it existed. But how deep did these networks really go? Some insiders say almost every high-profile case passed through invisible filters of loyalty and power. Others claim only a few fixers knew how to pull the right strings. What no one can deny is this: justice in Zambia was no longer just about the law. It was about who you knew and how much you could pay. This revelation rattled not only the Commission, but the public trust itself. And yet, the story did not end there. In Episode 4, The Missing Files, we uncover how crucial documents vanished into thin air, and why these gaps in the record might hold the key to the biggest scandals of all. The missing files, the Commission's job was to follow the evidence. But what happens when the evidence itself disappears? That's exactly what investigators faced when they opened certain case files and found nothing. Whole sections were missing. Key documents were gone. In some cases, records appeared altered, with names scratched out or dates changed. It wasn't sloppy filing. It was deliberate. Someone, somewhere wanted these trails erased. One commissioner described it bluntly: the files tell a story, and when they go missing, that story is being rewritten. But who was rewriting it? And why? The pattern was revealing. Missing files often belong to high-profile cases involving senior politicians or wealthy business figures. Ordinary cases were intact. Sensitive ones were shredded, misplaced, or locked away in cabinets no one could access. Even more shocking was what insiders whispered, that some files were destroyed right before the Commission began its work. Almost as if someone knew what was coming and wanted to cover their tracks. For the public, this was infuriating. If the very foundation of justice, the record of truth, could vanish, what hope was there for accountability? Yet sometimes missing files tell as much as surviving ones. Each gap in the record hinted at a hidden hand. And the deeper the Commission dug, the clearer it became. These files weren't lost. They were buried. But the bigger question loomed: who ordered the burial? In Episode 5, Pressure from Above, we reveal how judges, lawyers, and even commissioners themselves face pressure from the highest levels of power. And the closer they got to the truth, the stronger the pressure became. Pressure from above. What if I told you that Zambia's justice system may not always belong to the judges? That sometimes the real verdict is decided far away from the courtroom, in private offices, late-night calls, and whispered instructions from the most powerful hands in the country. Shocking, right? But insiders claim this is exactly what happened during the Madlanga Commission. From the very start, witnesses hinted at a disturbing truth. Justice was not just influenced, it was controlled. Senior officials, some with direct ties to politics, were accused of leaning on judges. The methods: promises of promotions, threats of dismissal, even the destruction of reputations if one dared to step out of line. Careers were built or broken depending on loyalty, not law. And for years, nobody dared to speak. But then, something changed. Insiders began to talk. One after another, they revealed the unseen pressure that shaped key rulings. Why now? Was it fear finally giving way to frustration? Or was someone behind the scenes encouraging these leaks? The testimonies painted a chilling picture of a justice system compromised from the very top. But here's the twist: not all witnesses made it to the stand. Some suddenly pulled out. Others vanished from the spotlight. What happened to them? The deeper the Commission dug, the stronger the pushback became. Which raises the question: If this is what we saw in public, what secrets are still hidden in the dark? Stay with us, because in our next video, we uncover the day the court stopped, when one testimony shook the entire nation and silence fell over the chamber. The day the court stopped, it happened in seconds. A single sentence, and the courtroom froze. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Reporters rushed for their phones. Judges shifted in their seats. And for the first time since the Madlanga Commission began, silence fell so heavy it felt like the walls themselves were listening. What could one witness possibly have said to stop the proceedings cold? The answer is still debated. Some called it the most daring testimony Zambia has ever heard. Others dismissed it as reckless. But in that moment, the claim cut through years of secrecy. This wasn't rumor anymore. It was spoken under oath, in front of a nation. Phones buzzed outside as word spread like fire. Headlines appeared within hours. Shocking confession rocks the commission. Social media exploded. Some demanded arrests on the spot. Others warned the witness had just signed their own death warrant. What made it even more dramatic was how the commission reacted. For a few tense minutes, it wasn't clear if the hearings would continue. Officials huddled, whispers flew, and all eyes stayed locked on the witness, who refused to take back their words. But here's the twist. While the nation focused on what was revealed, very few noticed what happened after. Sudden delays, strange cancellations, and the quiet disappearance of voices that were meant to testify next. Why? In our next video, we follow the witness under fire, the one who dared to speak, and the storm that came crashing down on them. The witness under fire. The moment the witness spoke, everything changed. What they revealed in the Madlanga Commission sent shockwaves across the country. But almost immediately, retaliation began. Anonymous calls, late-night knocks, whispered warnings that the witness had crossed a line they could never step back from. Shocking, yes, but this was just the start. Within days, smear campaigns exploded. Newspapers carried sudden leaks about the witness's past. Anonymous accounts on social media painted them as a liar, even a traitor. Powerful figures moved fast to shift the story, to make the messenger look guilty, so the message would disappear. But here's the strange part. The more they attacked, the more people wanted to know what the witness had said. Was it possible that the attempts to silence them were backfiring? Or was this exactly the trap, to drown the truth in noise until no one knew what to believe? Insiders whispered that the pressure was unbearable. Security forces appeared at their home. Friends distanced themselves. Allies grew silent. And yet, the witness did not retract a single word. But how long could they last? Could one voice really survive against an entire system designed to destroy it? Or was the real plan not to silence this witness, but to make sure no one else ever dared to speak again? In our next video, we take you inside Judgment Beyond the Court, where the final battle isn't about testimony, but about the future of Zambia's justice system itself. Judgment Beyond the Court. What if all the shocking revelations of the Madlanga Commission ended up changing nothing? After weeks of explosive testimonies, headlines, and whispers of corruption at the highest levels, Zambia is left with a haunting question. Will the system reform, or will it return to business as usual? As the hearings neared their end, the air grew heavy with tension. Reports of political pressure surfaced. Insiders hinted that parts of the final report might be edited, delayed, or even buried. Could the truth, spoken so boldly in the chamber, be erased in silence once the cameras turn off? Citizens demanded answers. Crowds outside the hearings chanted for reform, while social media erupted with calls for justice. But behind closed doors, powerful figures were already maneuvering. Some wanted accountability. Others wanted the storm to pass, leaving their power untouched. For many Zambians, trust in the justice system now hangs by a thread. They have seen the cracks. They have heard the testimonies. And they know the truth cannot be unseen. But will officials act, or will history repeat itself? Here's the chilling part. The commission can only recommend change. The real decision rests in the hands of leaders who may themselves be implicated in the very system under fire. So reform or repetition? Justice or denial? One thing is clear. If the courts fail to deliver justice, the people will look elsewhere for it. And that search may reshape Zambia forever.